This is the Santa Clara County Law Library in San Jose, California. This building is filled with laws against men. Because of the traffic and the noise, I may have to go to the back and finish filming this. But I wanted you to know where I'm at the Law Library. Now this building may be filled with laws against men, but it also has laws in favor of men. And that's today's story. In another legal case, it was a case of domestic violence claims, accusations, false accusations. I was meeting with the attorney, and there was an investigator already on the case. The attorney said, go find evidence that it didn't happen. And I said, how do you do that? How do you think to find evidence of an event that didn't happen to prove that it didn't happen? Tell me how to think and I'll figure that out. He didn't have any suggestions. I examined the evidence. I found dozens of things that I could prove of false accusations. Very simple things. Things that the investigator would certainly have in hand. But I went after how to disprove an event did not happen. How to prove that an event did not happen. By law. There was a female sheriff's deputy involved in the case from the very beginning. She was called out, not to the home, but to church where the woman was at, with the young son who was 5. She did the interview with both the complaining woman and with a little boy. But she didn't make an arrest. 30 days later, the man was arrested, not by evidence, not because of any evidence, but because she had signed a document down at the courthouse or something that said she feared for her life and whatever else, even though there was absolutely no evidence. This is a copy of Annual Review of Criminal Procedure from the Georgetown Law Journal. This is the big book. This is the Bible for law. In it, I found that the sheriff deputy that went out there, the female sheriff's deputy that responded to the complaint, was required to do 3 things. 1, to protect the victim. And of course she did that. Number 2, this was number 3. The third item, she was to provide all of the resources of society for the victim. Even though this is an alleged victim, even though there's no evidence to support it. But the number 2 thing she was required to do by law, and she was experienced because she had run for sheriffs of the whole county. So she must have known what she was doing. Number 2, she was required to make an arrest if there was any evidence at all. Any evidence. But she didn't make an arrest because there was no evidence. And that's how I proved she was lying. She claimed that the videotape, the audio tape that she had made of the 5-year-old son was blank. But 7 weeks later, they had the 5-year-old saying, oh yeah, Daddy does this. It took him 7 weeks to convince this little boy to say, yeah, Daddy does this. Of course, Daddy had been removed from the home, and other stepchildren had been removed from the home, so there was no one left except his mother. But that meant that when she interviewed the little boy, that the little boy told her on tape, no, Daddy doesn't do this. Because had he said, yes, Daddy does that, that would have been evidence, and she would have made an arrest. But she couldn't make an arrest because there was no evidence. That didn't stop her though. Now she was committed. Now she had destroyed evidence that would exonerate the man and prove that the woman was lying and making false accusations and wasting untold dollars. She was committed. She had to continue her lies. She joined the woman in the false accusations. During court, the investigator told me, I can prove that she's lying, but the attorney won't call me up there. I said, I can prove that she's lying too, that they're both lying, but the attorney won't ask those questions. False accusations. The shame of the wife, the woman, the shame of the female sheriff's deputy compelled them to continue their course. And the court system, the legal system, went with them all the way. Even though anyone reviewing the evidence with normal, average intelligence would have said, this is bogus. When the police break the laws, and when the judges break the laws, when the prosecutors break the laws, there is no law. When you swear an oath to the country, you swear to defend the country from all foreign and domestic enemies. Women and false accusations, police destroying evidence, hiding evidence. These are domestic enemies. Not of just the man, but of our country as a whole. We need to do something about this. Are there law firms out there that are willing to stand up? Can you join with these men's groups? Now, I'm disgusted when men abuse women or abuse children. I'm ashamed to be a man when I see these things, hear about them, when I examine the evidence that it's true. But I would be embarrassed to be a woman in today's society. I would be embarrassed to be a policeman or a judge. Join me, contact me. Give us some names, some law firms. Let's fight this. Let's turn this back to justice and not just false accusations. Thank you.